And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of This Is Our Life. And and this is
Maggie.
Maggie.
Hey, because I'm cleaning.
Yeah.
Hello, there she is.
Okay, so hey Maggie. So this video, because I commented on a cop block video earlier, and somebody got pissy. I didn't really bother reading the whole thing. Here's the deal, man. I support cop block. I support the Free State Project. But when you're a hypocrite, you're a hypocrite, and I have no problems calling people out on that. So Garrett, Ian, whichever one of you it was, or whoever the blanket was, you hate the cops. Oh boy, do you hate the police. But then all of a sudden you call the cops. When it suits you, the cops are a good thing. Now, if it weren't so sad, it would be laughable. But, Garrett, I saw you walking around our car. What was that? What was that all about? I mean, you say there's no need for the police, but then you turn around and call them. Now, look, if I would have known it was a cop at the door, I wouldn't have answered it. But, I don't keep track of what people do, unlike some people who like to keep a record of every little thing that certain people do. And let me tell you, in my family, well, actually, you can include my wife's family as well. My dad was an auxiliary officer in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania for a while. My one of my cousins, her husband, retired, second in command of his police department. And on another side of the family, there is a man who is a retired FBI agent. And then we go over to my wife's family, and my wife's dad was an MP. And I guess I could keep going on. In España, back home in Spain, we were friends with the Comandante for Guardia Civil for the district. Let me tell you something, those are guys you wouldn't want to mess with. Even today, you wouldn't want to mess with those guys. It was worse back then, because they just would have put you up against a wall, and you know what. Today, they might give you a good beat down. They might throw you in jail or even prison, but more likely than not, eventually you're going to get a fair hearing. Back then, it wasn't that way. So I want you to keep in mind that I have gone up against the Guardia Civil. Think of going up against the Gestapo. Think about going up against the secret police. Well, actually, they weren't very secret, and they carried guns. Actually, if you see that black hat right there, that's a Guardia Civil hat. Now, today, they only use those in ceremonies, but it used to be that was their normal wear. But, don't get pissy. If I comment on some BS that you post, don't get pissy with me. You're the one that called the cops, not me. I don't call the cops on people. I have no reason to. I'll find another way to deal with things. Which, to me, is, that's the right way, is to find another way to deal with things. If we have an issue with our neighbor, we don't call the cops on them. We go and talk to them. I guess you don't know how to do that. Another issue that I don't think I really got to in some of the recent videos, I have an imagination. I have a very vivid imagination. I also have a wicked sense of humor. And if those two things happen to scare you, then you have a serious psychological problem, not me. So, if you're afraid of me, good. Be afraid. You know, people laugh at the redneck until, right? Make fun of the redneck until. And you cross that line for until. But, another thing I want to say is I have a beautiful wife over here, and you want to mess with me, you know, I can deal with that. But you want to mess with her, then we have a real problem on our hands. A very serious problem on our hands. How do you guys happen to know when there's going to be a raid? Like the raid on Fat Stuffs the other day? You knew beforehand there was going to be a raid. You know what that tells me? That tells me you're inside. You know, you all are a setup. You know, if anybody should be afraid, they should be afraid of you guys. You guys are the ones who commit violence, commit acts of violence against each other and others. Not me, not my wife. But then that's, for some reason, that's, see, again, your mental process. And then you want to accuse people of pedophilia, but then who's seducing a 14-year-old girl, and who's claiming 5-year-olds can make a conscious, informed decision to have sexual relations with an adult? Sure the hell isn't me. I know better. You obviously don't know better. I would not associate with somebody who would say those things. But you guys follow Ian around like a sick puppy. You know, I mean, I would like to be able to support you guys. I would like to be able to support you guys. But I can't when you're peddling pedophilia and you're harassing meter maids and you're calling people names and you're accusing people of things that you're actually guilty of. Not the people you accuse, but you are guilty of it. And you say there's no need for the police, you hate the cops, yet you call the cops. If there's another way to handle it, why don't you handle it that other way? You're hypocrites. I want to be able to support you guys. But obviously, it's not going to happen. Not anytime soon, anyway.